It's Arthur von Steen. I mean, first of all, welcome to our show. How are you, Arthur?
Thank you very much. I'm fine. I'm very honored to be your guest today. Um, we have met each other a couple of months ago, and from that moment on, there's a very good connection. I really like your approach on spirituality. Being a shaman for 35 years, it's very interesting to meet the right people on my path. So you came on my path for a reason, of course, and I hope we can have a nice interview today, and I can explain something about my work, something about my history, and maybe I have some advices in this turbulent time. You never know. It depends on spirit.
Exactly. First of all, thank you so much for your kind words. And, it is honor to meet you for me as well. And I consider you as a good friend of mine now because soul knows everything. And when we trust our souls, I think that it is the, innate wisdom that we always carry with us. So it is very important. Arthur, I mean, first of all, you're a very well-known healer, homeopath, shaman, and you work with medicine, and you've been in this business, in this line of helping people for more than 30, 35 years. Before I start, talking about healing, and also I forgot to, add, you love Turkey. You come to Turkey quite often to give seminars, to see people, and you train people as well. You teach people on a very positive level. I want to ask you, Arthur. I mean, your story. I know that everybody has a story, but yours is quite interesting one as well. How your whole story started? Can you please tell us?
Yes, it's a quite amazing story, which I didn't expect myself. When I was a child, I knew I had some different qualities than, let's say, average children. The point was, before I even was 5 years old, because that is when I moved to a different house, I always remember I was talking a certain painting in our house where I was born. It was a painting of Mother Mary with the child, and there were always strange noises or sounds coming from that painting. For me, that was normal, and but nobody noticed it. So that was, in fact, my first real, let's say, spiritual experience. From then on, not much happened. I only knew, for example, when I was like 14 years old, if there was a letter for me when I was at school, and then I came home and told my mom, "Hey, where's my letter?" She said, "How do you know there's a letter?" I said, "Yeah, of course I know." It was just like that. Besides that, I consider myself an observer. I always looked to other people, observing them, more like a kind of psychological approach. Who are they? Are they real? Do they have, like, say, masks that are not real because they want to be? So especially in your puberty, that's very interesting when people are very insecure. And for me, it was a very, very interesting period. My real spiritual opening for myself, let's say it's more like to remember who I really am, came when I started meditation. I was more or less like 20 years old, and a friend of mine, she said, I go to meditation classes, it would be nice for you to join. Yeah, so I said, okay, I'll come. And when I went there the first time, it was like movie unfolding. It was so amazing. The spirit guide that immediately came to me, my personal guide, which I saw for the first time. And so she stayed with me for many, many years. And so she helped me really through those first years of spiritual active development. In the same time, I was working as a teacher on a school, and I didn't like it that much. To be honest, I didn't study to become a teacher, but I studied a laboratory school. But at that moment, there wasn't any possibility to find work there, a job there. So, but I didn't like the work as a teacher. It was so much limited. And all of a sudden, in my lunch break, I went to the shop to do my groceries. I opened a magazine on spirituality, in which I was interested, and I saw in the weekends a course on classical homeopathy. And I said, okay, that sounds interesting. I can do my job and I can study as well. And so within a few years' time, so when I was 25, I was a qualified homeopath. And I opened my own clinic.
Wonderful.
Yes, it was amazing. However, with homeopathy, it's not a herbal treatment, it's working with energy. So the main question is how can you choose the right medication? Of course, you can do this by your mind, but immediately spirit guided me, and because being a shaman from my birth, I have the ability to sense energies. So I can sense the energy of the person and sense the energy of the homeopathic medication, which always has to resonate on each other. So up till now, still after 35 years of doing this work, I do it the same way by sensing the energies. And I think that's the main quality of a shaman. That's not something that you can learn. You can learn shamanic techniques because there are certain, let's say, shamanic techniques. But becoming a shaman is something else. I think you are born a shaman.
Actually, Arthur, I mean, it is very interesting that, we are talking about this topic that I want to ask you. I mean, shamanism or being shaman, there's so many topics about this concept. And people learn techniques and they're being trained. Obviously, sometimes our souls have tendencies towards different modalities. But I also believe that, we are born with different qualities.
Exactly.
So can you please tell us, like, what is, being shaman? And also, can you please tell us the difference? Because I'm sure that so many people are interested in this concept. So what is being shaman?
Okay, how I think about shamanism and being a shaman is it's a duty. It's not a choice. You are called to become a shaman, and so you have your education by spirit. So in fact, what you do being a shaman, you remember. And it's not that you can go to a school or to a shamanic course to become a shaman. My own way is that I had to travel a lot all over the world, especially to places where I have had past lives. Most important past lives of myself were in Egypt and in Peru. So both countries I've visited many, many times. And
Really?
yeah. And being a shaman, it means that you are always recognized by other shamans. So you don't search for a colleague. We find each other. So, for example, when I went to Peru the first time, I was just walking in some ruins, and out of a cave came a shaman, and he immediately came to me, and he said, "I have been waiting for you." I said, "How can you have been waiting for me?" He said, "Oh, I already saw you in my dreams many months ago, and I knew that you would be here today, and you are here for an initiation." And being from Europe, my first thought was, okay, this guy wants money. You know, this is how it works because many, let's say, fake shamans, they pretend that they have abilities, but they are just into money. And so I asked him, how much does it cost? He said, are you crazy? And I'm honored that you're here. And so I'm still have a wonderful contact with him after so many years.
So great.
Yes. So what I think is very important for a shaman is to work on yourself first. You have to go through a very deep road of self-mirroring, self-confrontation. You have to make a lot of sacrifices. It's not an easy road. It's not easy physically, it's not easy emotionally. You have to make very important decisions in your life, which can mean that you have to step out of certain relationships. You have to invest a lot of time in this work. But it's worth it because you do this for humanity. You don't do this for yourself. It's a tour of duty. In fact, it's an art.
It is exactly. I agree with you. I mean, when you start saying, first of all, as a shaman, you start now the first steps. You start working on yourself, and it is not easy, which I do understand. Why it is always, it always starts with like the difficult part when you start working on yourself. Is it because we bring a lot of record from our ancestors, our families, our roots? Is it because of that reason, or is it because of some believe, some doesn't? But is it because of past life or different dimensions? Why it is always difficult to start working on yourself?
Okay, working on yourself, it requires different steps. First step is especially to detach from all kind of
Can you
programming.
just wait for a second? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, Arthur, what I'm going to ask, as you said, it is always difficult when you start mirroring yourself because we start seeing negatives, dualities in our own, life journey. Is it because of the record that we bring from our ancestors, from our families? Some believe in past lives, some doesn't. But is it because of past lives? This not much. I feel that I also feel that the information that we are given in this lifetime is so much, but we are also limited to some information, but still there's so much we don't know. And why it is always difficult is a first step to start working on yourself.
Okay, and it's a good question because your question is mirroring itself on the three levels of our existence, on the physical level, the emotional level, spiritual level. So being born in a certain earthly body really has a lot of limitations. For example, your body carries all the energy of your physical ancestors. So that's a kind of pollution. And to come to your full authentic self, you have to get rid of those energies. And so your soul will be it's like your vessel is totally pure. So it's and you can use it at the maximum. So in my case, when I the first years went to Egypt, I always met in the temples the guards, and they took me to certain hieroglyphs, certain paintings, and they really had a huge effect on me, my physical body. So I fell down. I had really seizures, trembling, which was so painful, but it was necessary to raise the frequency of my physical body. Then, of course, the second level is the level of the emotions. We are so much programmed, so that has to be released. Programming of culture, programming of parents, schools, but also being a shaman or let's say a healer. It means that you emotionally have to have as much balance as you can. So ego is of course never allowed. So there, but on the other side, the masculine part, the rational part of yourself is also very important to understand what you're doing. So you have to convert your masculine side in a very clear understanding, and in the feminine side, you have to step out of all your insecurities, but also you have to get rid of all your traumas from this life and also from your past lives. Only if you are balanced in your own masculine and feminine side, then you can raise your frequency also, and reach the spiritual level, which is the level of the observer. In the Egyptian mythology, it's the perfect combined energy between the feminine side, Isis, the masculine side, Osiris, with their child Horus, the eye of Horus. Is the third eye from which you can observe, and you are not judgmental anymore. So that's a process which will take a lot of years. So within that time, you already can be a healer. But in fact, it never ends. You all the time have to work on yourself and reconnect to old energies and to a lot of information which is hidden. So it's the hermetic part of yourself. You get access to the hidden mysteries.
It is very interesting. Actually, what you're saying is also a part of duality, like feminine, masculine, Ida Pingala, and all these energy forms. They also complete the duality, the reality. And I feel that also we kind of lose our connection with the source when we are on this dimension. So the connection is not always necessarily means religion, because people want to see, or people want to, kind of categorize things like so-called religion, but being connected to source is, I think the meaning of life itself, because we are part of all this microcosmos. In the light of this, as a shaman, you've been helping people all over the world. I mean, when you say life is sometimes difficult, is it difficult because you feel things, you see things? Can you please tell us why it is difficult?
Yes, it's difficult on many levels. So the first level that's difficult is because a lot of people are jealous with people that have the sight or are shamans. But you have to realize, because you are on duty, it means that we are working together with the spirit guides. And not only the spirit from the upper world, also what we call the spirits from the lower world. So Mother Earth itself, but also there are a lot of energies connected to her. That means that those energies are all the time in communication with us. So that means that rest, pure rest, a nice sleep is hard for us, because all the time we wake up a little bit and then there's a lot of information, because most information, most teachings come during the night when you are out of your control, when you are in this kind of meditative state in the night, when you're connected to your subconsciousness and to the other levels, the other realms of energy. So that's quite tiring sometimes. On the other hand, it's so amazing and so interesting, and so nice to have those friends there.
Can I just, Archie, can I just cut you for a second? It is also when you say that, you sometimes become restless because you don't sleep much. All the masters that I've been working, they all say the same thing. They only have a couple of hours sleep during the night, like yourself.
Yeah. But that's part of the game, you know. On the other hand, what also is difficult is to see the world getting so much in trouble. To see how we are getting more and more in disbalance. And even, of course, there are a lot of aware people, especially in Turkey. That's why I like to come to Turkey. The reason that Turkey has a quite large amount of aware people is because Turkish people have it already in their roots. So in a certain way, they benefit from living in a country with a rich history. On the other hand, what I need to, of course, see in the world is that the world is totally taken over by the path of power, the path of money, and especially the path of technology. And it doesn't mean that those three frequencies are bad. No, because power is nice, because it's a certain control, it's also strength. Money, if you have money, you can travel, you can follow a course. Technology, we can communicate, we have internet. However, there should be a balance. And the whole point is that there's too much focus on those three. And that means that the other part, our senses, our trust, and also Mother Earth are so much damaged.
Yes.
So we are living in a world of great disbalance. And that's sometimes hurts very much to see that. And to see that forests are cut just for the money. There's a lot of pollution, and people are brainwashed. It's so easy to stay at home and watch Netflix instead of going into nature and meditate. People choose for the easy way. Also with food, many people don't think when they eat kebab or whatever that those animals they also are identities. And still you can say, yeah, but they are created by the god or whatever creating energy to serve us. But there's a difference between serving and, let's say, use them and let them suffer, which of course happens.
True. I think that it is very important to keep the equilibrium, because when we lose it, then we kind of lose our sense of purpose as well, purpose in life. I mean, obviously, technology is important. Like now we are in a digital world, we are talking by means of technology, or other things like power, commercial things, media, and everything. But I think that, when we lose the equilibrium, then the things start changing. And then I think that recent years we've been going through I think we've been receiving a lot of messages, like Gaia. She's been giving us so many messages, and it is important to talk about this kind of subject. So I want to ask you, when you start working with people, it was some years ago, and you work with homeopathy as well. You start connecting with their energies, or you start connecting with their problems or illnesses. How does it work out for you?
No, in fact, I always avoid stepping immediately in their problems, because the problems that they experience are part of, let's say, the place in time and space in which they are right now. And people are much more than just the person that they are here in this physical body. So for me, I try to understand their energy system. So I look for their life purpose, and of course I will look at their physical and emotional health by screening their energies. but I always prefer to make a kind of spiritual, energetic diagnosis before they step into their drama. Because the drama can lower their energy, can blind them. So I want to see what is the real problem. So, for example, if they have problems with their physical body, most of the time it's psychosomatic. And so this is also the way that homeopathy works. Homeopathy, sometimes the classical homeopathy, from that point of view, we see that we are polluted. And sometimes we are fighting something that we even cannot fight. So with homeopathic medication, you take away this dirty energy. So it's a different kind of healing. It's not a symptomatic healing like in the normal health care. You look where are blocked energies and what causes it. And so from the psychosomatic point of view, for example, if you have a client that has severe cancer, you are looking what is the cause of the cancer. It's not about curing the tumor or whatever. No, it's what has caused it. What couldn't they digest? What can they learn from it? So it's a totally different approach. It's a more spiritual approach to make people aware that we are not only a physical body and emotion, we are much more. And we have a duty here and we are all important, each of us.
True. Arthur, you said, you visited Egypt and Peru many times. We know that, places have geopathic energies. Is it because to receive those energies, the information that you kept visiting these places, or is it for different purposes?
No, the reason that I visit those places, so Peru and Egypt are very important spots in history. And so, and of course, most people, when they think about those places, they think about the pharaonic time, they think about the pyramids. But in fact, the energies, especially also the energies of the land itself, are much, much older. So people always think that I only visit the main, let's say, touristic highlights, which is, in fact, often not even interesting, because those places are so much damaged energy-wise by all the tourists. And so when you meet local people with local shamans, they can bring you to really amazing hidden spots, which are definitely unknown by the normal tourists. To give you a small example, once I was invited to come to New Zealand, and I had the opportunity to meet the highest Maori priest. And he said, we normally don't do this, but I will take you to the place where our ancestors, which came from the Polynesian islands, have landed, and they even put some, let's say, relics and stones from their homeland. And he said, normally nobody is allowed to go there. And so it's so beautiful. And on those spots, I really can connect easier with certain frequencies. I get a lot of information. And also those energies tell me what is my next step. So I have my personal journey to those places, and some places I'm allowed to take people myself and to show them also certain hidden places, which is amazing. And so I take Dutch people, Turkish people to those places to have a very interesting experience, because when we go there, their energies open themselves, and they really get a different experience than if they would go to on a touristic tour.
I know, I totally agree with you. Like, as you know, I am also somebody, I travel a lot. I don't normally talk about my mind, energy, and spiritual work, but like you said, when we go to these places where our innate wisdom has a calling to go, we open our souls to different frequencies, and through that experience we also enlighten different people around us. So it is a kind of, because we live in a ocean of energies. When people think that we are individuals, we can be individuals as a physical body, but energy body, we are all interconnected. So it is the collective consciousness, and many people don't understand this term collective consciousness, but I think it is very important.
I totally agree. For example, many times it happens that when I go to a certain place, other people from different parts of the world are just at the same time there. And so then it's meant to be that we come together. And we recognize each other, and it's amazing what a kind of network you create. And so we all are called. So when we go to certain places, it's not because we want to visit those places. It's because we are called to go there. And that's so beautiful. And it's a real network of people that are working on this level. And so sometimes amazing things happen when you are there and you meet each other and there's an energy exchange. That's so beautiful.
Amazing. Arthur, what about your connection with Turkey? Because I know that you have a lot of connection with Turkey. As I explained before we start our interview, you give seminars in Turkey, you work with people, you train people, and you've been coming to Turkey for almost 12 years now.
Exactly. My first visit to Turkey was when I was young. I think I was 25. I took the train, and the train you could.
You are young, Arthur. You are.
Okay, I feel young.
Yes,
So I was 25, and I could go by train till Istanbul, and I was not planning to go further into Turkey. But I met some friends over there, and they invited me to go to Selçuk, to Efes, and to Pamukkale, and so it was an amazing experience. But you have to realize, so that was 1985. That it was a totally different world compared to what it is right now.
yeah.
I was really so the Grand Bazaar was still normal, like merchandise. It was not touristic. And so I really had an amazing time. And so I went there for a couple of years because I loved it so much. Then for many, many years, I didn't go there anymore. Till about 12 years ago, I was invited by a center in Istanbul because for many years, I have a connection to a sacred object. It's called a crystal skull. It has a very long history. It's too much to talk about right now. But that center had heard about it and wanted to introduce it also to Turkey. Then they contacted me if I would be able to come once to Turkey to give a lecture and to tell about my experiences. So, and I thought it would be only once. But they liked my talk, they liked my work, and from then on, almost every 2 months, I'm in Turkey now. Istanbul, Ankara, Antalya, went to Izmir. I saw most of your country because I traveled also a lot in your country because there are really amazing ancient places. And I'm guided to go to those places. For me, it has been really a roller coaster those 12 years, because of course, in 12 years' time, a lot is going on in Turkey, and that's very interesting because it synchronizes with my own spiritual path. So I know I have to be there because Turkey is really the bridge between East and West. And so Turkey has spiritually a very important role in the energetic concept and in the cosmic plan. So for that reason, I really know that I have to be there. And it's not about that I like the people, because Turkish people are wonderful. People, there's a big hospitality. You can meet fantastic friends, and it's
Great to hear that. Great to hear that.
yes.
Actually, Arthur, I mean, I want to talk to you about cosmic plan and fifth dimension, but maybe it is for another topic, for another part of our interview. But I know that also you use shamanic cards to connect with the spirit and talk about what is happening. Do you mind just maybe demonstrating us a little bit about, because right now the world is going through so much, and
Exactly.
every part of the world, not just in Holland, Turkey, everywhere. So do you mind just maybe tell us what is happening according to your inner wisdom and the cards and the spirit?
So, okay, I'll tell you what I feel. The information that immediately came to me when this whole crisis started. Um, uh, Spirit has a very important message in this time. And the message is that we can go two roads. Either we step in the road of fear, which also as a result is compensation, which means that people stay at home, feeling bored, getting annoyed with each other. They don't use that time very active. They just watch TV or whatever and feel miserable. That's one path you can take. But this time is also a time, a challenge to do self-reflection, to understand that we have to keep trust, and that we want to create something, create a better world or whatever. So in Christianity, this time is called the Antichrist. The Antichrist is in fact the opposite force. So it's a kind of energy which is connected to the demons, to Shaitan, which is definitely affecting the whole world. Why it is affecting the whole world so much at this moment? And it's in fact, as you say, it's the whole world, even smaller islands in the Pacific Ocean, wherever, everywhere. Because as a humanity, we are making a shift from the emotional level, which we call the third chakra, and astrologically is very much connected to the era of Pisces. We are moving on to the heart chakra, to the fourth chakra, which is based on love, compassion, and it's ruled by the astrological. So, in fact, this crisis is part of the shift, so we call this. And it's a time of.
Sorry, when you were explaining your last sentence, the connection wasn't great. You were just talking about, the humanity is, shifting from the emotional level, which is the third chakra, to fourth chakra, which is the heart level.
Yes.
Love and compassion. Then I lost you. Can you start from there?
Okay. So we are raising our frequency from the third chakra to the fourth chakra. So from the emotional level, which is dominated by the astrological sign of Pisces, to the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, which is dominated by the astrological sign of Aquarius. Those these steps that we make are part of a huge transformation process, which will bring us to what we call the fifth dimension. And ironically, already in the 60s, there was a famous song. It was called The Age of Aquarius. And the performers, the name of that group was The Fifth Dimension. So it's very strange that it was already, in fact, foreseen that this will happen. Only we didn't know when it would happen, but they were already making a kind of looking into the future that it would happen, and that's at this time that we are in right now. It's a very interesting move that you are making, and I can give some more information from the energy level by using cards. I use different tarot cards.
Okay.
Tarot cards are not that much for looking in the future, but they are talking about an energetic process. So it's a way that spirit talks to us. The way that spirit talks to us in dreams and in meditation is often with symbols. And if you can understand the symbols, then we have a beautiful language. It's a very easy way of talking to us. So let me put a few cards to see if a message about this crisis, what's going on. Maybe we can learn something, maybe it's an advice or whatever comes.
Please. I hope positive things will come out.
I hope so. So the first card is this card. It's called the Star, and it refers to the cosmic plan. So it means that what is happening right now, it's already written in the stars. It's already meant to be. It's not just a coincidence. Everything what is happening is already written in the stars. So the next cards is this card, is the Snake. The snake represents the reptilian energy. It's a long story, but in fact, reptilian energy is an energy from outer space that has infiltrated our cosmos and has taken over. Also, it's integrated in humanity. So at the moment, we are really dealing with the influence of that energy. Then this card comes. You see, it's a woman on a chair and some books at her side. This card, it represents that we are challenged in our feminine energy. So either we can step in our weak part of the feminine energy, fear, emotion, or we can follow the advice of this card, stay in your confidence, stay in your wisdom, especially in your feminine side.
When you say woman with a sitting in a chair with lots of books, I thought it was me.
Okay, great, yes. So then this card comes, and I already had the advice. This is about self-mirroring. Mirror yourself.
Sure.
See, where are you at this moment in your life? What are your blind spots? What are your weak spots? Look at yourself non-judgmental. Just look at yourself. What is going on? Do I achieve what I want in my life? Is it really worth chasing money or whatever? So look at yourself. Be open to yourself.
Is it like, kind of recognizing your life purpose more?
Exactly, exactly. Because that's indicated in this card which comes. And this is the card of aligning with your authentic self. So this is a time that you are, you get the time to focus on yourself, because you have less obligations to go to work, less obligations to meet friends. You're less distracted by all kind of noises, whatever. It's more inner peace now. So use this time to understand what is really going on in the world, what is really going on in yourself. Then additional is this card. I call this card the Joker card.
Okay.
It's connected to this reptilian energy. So this reptilian energy is totally controlling us. Its card is called deception. So we are under control. In what way are you under control? What is controlling you? And that might be something from outside. You feel controlled by family, government, religion, or whatever. But you can also be controlled by your own dark side. So be aware of that, because maybe you also have your own reptilian part in yourself. And I end with this card, and it's very beautiful, victory.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. Yes, victory card. Yeah.
So it means that if you do this in a good way, you really make a huge step in your life. So instead of blaming whatever is happening and feeling the victim of the situation, see it as a huge challenge. Use your time in a positive way to create a positive energy for yourself and for your future, and learn more about yourself in this time.
Arthur, actually, I mean, it was wonderful to see all these, great messages, and it totally makes sense to me. But at the same time, I know it is not easy for those who don't understand what is happening, because when they watch the news, so much happening, it is part of the illusion, but at the same time, people are dying, so much happening. And unfortunately, sadly, they are in their, fear energy. Can we do anything, or can you just give any message for those to raise their vibration and to kind of come out of this fear energy?
Yes.
Because although you say it is a very challenging times, it is a challenge, even like, to self mirror yourself, it is a challenge, as we said. And on top of that, we are going through so much. So how can we, I mean, people who are not very close to this kind of methods that we are talking, how can they come out of this fear energy?
The main thing is that people have to understand, even though it is difficult, but they have to understand that this is really a time in which you can make two choices. I have taken three cards. First card is this card, and here you see a person that is almost submerged in the water.
Yes.
That means this person is totally overruled by its emotions. And also the fear of dying, and not only the physical death, but that the normal life will be changing. So this is the weak part. The strong part is also a person in the water, but in this case it's abundance. So it's like being surrounded by nature, energy flow, vitality, life force. This is the other part of the game. The way that you can deal with it is the third card, and that's creating balance.
Yes.
Everything is about balance. So keep yourself in balance. That means it's not difficult to get some small advices. So it's about food. There's nothing wrong to treat yourself with some chocolate or some sweets or whatever, but everything in moderation. It's all about balance. So healthy food, but don't forget to treat yourself also. Same with sleeping and activity. So take enough rest, but also use your time positive, be productive. Don't step into laziness. Everything is about balance. So if you can create balance in your life, that balance is also the two sides of the brain, the masculine and the feminine side. It balances the two eyes, and from the two eyes which are in the horizontal, you can lift to the third eye. You can create this triangle. So balance is in fact the main message. Look if your life is in balance or not. Activity, passivity. Sometimes you want to spend maybe with your in your house with your family members. Maybe sometimes you have to go to your own room and do some self-reflection there. Don't be part of the family.
Actually, Arthur, I mean, what I feel also this time where there is a collective consciousness shift in the planet, we are also given this opportunity. Again, duality. Either you can take this or this. On this, there is sadness, misery, fear, and anxiety, or here to self-mirror, to check what is happening in your life. Because the more we see what is happening in our lives, then we are more connected with the outer world. But normally people, what they do, they get connected to the outer world without recognizing what is happening inside of them. I think these times are also an opportunity for the whole humanity to go through what is happening in their own self and to balance what is missing, what is needed, and also be in the love frequency rather than be in the fear frequency.
You're totally right. This is a big challenge, and in fact, everybody has its own, his or her own responsibility for that process.
Yes.
Being a shaman and being in connection to many different layers of spiritual guides, I can see everything in a wider perspective. I know that this is just a small step in a much bigger process. However, it's a very, very important step in which we are. And if you miss this step, it will be difficult to make your next step. It's like a flight of stairs. We have to go step by step, and this is a really important step for whole humanity. And so it's not to make people scared, because there's no reason to be scared, because there's so much love surrounding us. But use that love, use the support of others and trust, and don't watch too much TV or the news, which is so much negativity. Focus on simple things, good food, friendship, call a friend, or spend some quality time with your family members.
And good interviews, talking to, great people.
Exactly, it's quite simple. Listen to the birds, simple things.
Arthur, it's been, wonderful to talk to you. I know that we will be talking, to you more, because your wisdom is always, is interesting and kind of guiding. And because I don't know how long this shifting period right now will carry on, but, we need to give people positive messages.
Exactly. I think it's very important to stay positive. And thank you so much for being in this interview. I do my best. I have, fortunately, I can do my work as of course, I can sense energies. So also from a distance, that means that a lot of people can contact me just by Skype, phone, Facebook, or whatever, modern technology, to have sessions.
Actually, Arthur, how can people reach you? Do you have any, website that can reach you, or how can they reach you?
Yes, most easy is to contact by Facebook, Arthur van Steen. Maybe you can tell them. So if they have a question, they can just ask me. I have, of course, a website, but it's only in Dutch, as really my work is. I have so many people that wanted my advice, but I always know that the right people that need me, my support, will come to me. So if it's meant to be, just contact me, and for sure, then we will have our connection.
Arthur van Steen, thank you so much for this great time. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and energetically, it was great as well. And we will be connecting more in the coming weeks.
I hope so, and of course, like all of us, we hope that this crisis will pass soon, and I will be able to come back to Turkey as soon as possible.
It will be
And
great.
thank you so much for hosting this interview.
Thank you.
Much love. Bye bye.
Bye bye.